This is what I mean when I say I just want one cookie. I want a giant bazooki in a skillet to myself. I might even top it up with some ice cream if I'm feeling crazy, but bazookies in a restaurant can clock in at like 1,200 plus calories and very little protein. If you're trying to eat in a calorie deficit, that's not so great. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Amanda, aka Fit Food AE, and today we're going to be making 8 variations of my high protein, low calorie skillet cookies with 350 to 450 calories each. So basically a third of the calories of the restaurant bazooki with all the taste. So if you're excited to see me make these recipes, please give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, as it really helps the channel and I post new videos every week. And with that, let's get started. So for our first recipe, we've got the gingerbread skillet cookie. Yes, I know it's only middle of November. Do I care? Absolutely not. Because guys, I know you. You see the recipes, you save them, you need time to buy the ingredients, actually go out of your way to make them. So we're starting early. So this particular one has a few more extra ingredients than the others, but it's totally worth it because it tastes exactly like a gingerbread skillet cookie should, okay? One of the key ingredients here is the fancy molasses. I know there are different types of molasses. Do I know the differences between any of them? No, but I've tested this recipe many times throughout the years, and fancy molasses is the way to go. I think a common misconception of these recipes is that you can mix the ingredients directly in the cast iron skillet. Don't do that because it's just going to stick to it and it's not going to be edible. So got to mix them in a bowl thoroughly, and then we're going to transfer them to the mini cast iron skillet. But before we do that, we have to make sure to spray it with cooking spray. Now, I got a couple new cast iron skillets, so mine are looking fresh and clean. My other ones were looking rusty. If you guys can find mini white chocolate chips for this recipe, those work better because then the white chocolate-ness is spread throughout the skillet. Do you guys like my cute little getup here? I bought some Christmas decorations from HomeSense, so decided to use them as a backdrop in this. And look at that, it looks so gooey. My boyfriend said he doesn't like gingerbread, but he loved this recipe, so do with that information what you will. So for our next recipe, we've got a Christmas kitchen sink skillet cookie. Guys, I have no idea where I got the idea for this recipe from. I've made it multiple times over the years, so I must have seen it somewhere, but trust me, it's delicious. So you'll notice that I put powdered peanut butter in the majority of these recipes. Honestly, guys, you can't really taste it, which is good. It's just kind of like a binding ingredient to make it gooey. So if you hate peanut butter, I'm not going to say that you won't taste it at all, but it's not going to be peanut buttery. So in this so-called kitchen sink, quote unquote, we have pretzel sticks, Christmas M&ms, and white chocolate. Again, how I came up with that, I have no idea. But if you can't find Christmas M&ms, you can easily just buy regular M&ms and then pick out the red and green ones. That's what I've had to do in the past sometimes if I can't find them in store, which happens when you're making Christmas recipes in November. By the way, guys, make sure to put the M&ms on partway through baking. I baked it for 8 minutes and then I put the M&ms on for the last 3 minutes. And the reason I do this is because if you bake the M&ms too long, the color starts to bleed. It just doesn't look as good. But again, if you're not filming this recipe and posting on the internet, probably doesn't matter all that much. But for me, I was I want it to look the best for my followers. Look at that, so gooey. You want to get a bite of all 3 things in there, the M&ms, pretzels, and the white chocolate. Perfect Christmas recipe for November. Next up, we've got white chocolate peppermint. So this will be the last Christmas recipe in this batch. Unless you guys want to see more, then I'm happy to make more. Let me know. Most of these recipes follow kind of a similar formula. You'll see that the chocolate ones follow a similar one, and then the white ones follow a similar one. So this recipe uses peppermint extract. I found it in my normal grocery store. If you can't find it there, you could probably just go to Bulk Barn or whatever bulk food store you guys have or equivalent. If you can't find it, you can just omit it and then just put extra candy cane in there. That's totally fine. You'll see here that I can spread it out very easily, and that's because I wet the back of my spoon, so the dough was just easier to spread out. So for this recipe, I put some of the crushed up candy cane in the batter, and then I topped it with more crushed candy cane, and I topped it with more white chocolate chips. Again, guys, make sure to not over bake it. I I always have haters in the comments saying, that looks raw. Guys, I actually had to refilm this recipe because the first time I filled it, it was dry AF. I overbaked it only by like, I swear to God, like 2-3 minutes. So I would say put it in for less time than you think it needs. At the end of the day, a gooey skillet is a better skillet. If you guys prefer like a dry, crusty version, then that's your problem. Next up, we got pumpkin white chocolate. Notice that white chocolate is becoming a pattern here. Again, I always have my white chocolate haters. So if you don't like white chocolate, maybe you should click off this video. This might be a good time to plug the protein powder that I always use. So I use PE Science. You guys know it's a whey casein blend. I have tested these recipes with just whey protein and it works just fine. So even if you don't have it, that's fine. Just use whatever you have on hand. But if you want to purchase from PE Science, please use my discount code FIT15 or the link in the description. So this recipe uses pumpkin protein. I always have some left over from like the previous year, even if it's not fall. But if you don't have any, that's totally fine. Just use vanilla and then the pure pumpkin will kind of like overpower it anyway and give it that pumpkin-y taste. Some of these recipes I use my old 6.5-inch cast iron skillet, and then some of them I use my new 6-inch one. The size, like either way, it's totally fine. I think they just like stopped making the 6.5-inch one and I've had to resort to buying the 6-inch one, but that's totally fine. Again, guys, I can't stress this enough. I would say like it depends on your oven, whether or not you bake it for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but I would say just to be on the safe side, check after like 10. See what the consistency is. You could always put it back in the oven for a couple more minutes if you think that it's underbaked. These pair really well with ice cream, by the way. All the macros I post are without ice cream though, just an FYI, because I know a lot of people just like to eat them on their own and they are delicious on their own. So you are totally in the right for doing that. Next up, we've got a Brookie. Now, is this cheating? Is this really a skillet cookie or is it a skillet Brookie? It is a skillet Brookie, but I'm including this in this video because whatever, it's in a skillet and it looks like the rest of them. This is probably one of the most decadent recipes. It's very sweet and I love it so much. I haven't made it in a while. I feel like I kind of made it by accident. Like I made actual Brookies and then I remember thinking, this would taste great in a skillet. So I guess the slightly annoying thing about this recipe is that you have to use 2 bowls because you're making the brownie part and then you're making the cookie layer. But honestly, it's so worth it. So yeah, basically you're just gonna mix the cookie dough part together. It might be a bit crumbly as you guys can see. So just make sure to like mix it with your hands, maybe add a bit more liquid if you need to. Mini chocolate chips are always the best. I can't believe I couldn't find any. That was annoying. But yeah, basically take that cookie part and then just kind of distribute it on top. For this one, you do have to bake it a little bit longer. But again, I'd recommend just checking throughout. Honestly, looking at it now, I feel like I could have baked it for a bit less time, but it all just depends. You know what I was thinking when I made this recipe? That the cookie parts kind of look like when you look at a map and you look at the countries. Never mind, that's so stupid. This Brookie is sweet, decadent. It is the perfect treat. We only have a few more left. Don't go anywhere. So guys, this is the OG cookie skillet. This is the one that started it all. It is like chocolate chip. It's delicious. It's one of my favorites if you make it right. Now, the first few times I made this recipe, I definitely screwed it up. I remember at the time thinking like, oh my God, this is delicious, not knowing that I would vastly improve in how to make this. I'm actually going to insert a picture of what I thought was like, oh my God, I'm doing such a good job. Like that looks like an abomination. It was so dry, but we don't like dry cookie skillets around here, which is why we put them in an actual skillet instead of like whatever I put that in, and we don't overbake them. I like to put some of the chocolate chips in the batter and then some on top for like almost all of these recipes. Super important to spray your cast iron skillet with cooking spray. Otherwise, the batter is going to stick and it's just not great. I know I've said that before, but I'm going to repeat it again. Fun fact, I used to eat this exact skillet cookie for like dinner a lot when I was during COVID, during like lockdown. I guess I had nothing interesting going on in my life, so I needed to like eat dessert for dinner just to feel some happiness. But yeah, I used to be obsessed with these, and I would almost always top it with ice cream. Speaking of ice cream, I used to use Halo Top a lot. Like I would top these recipes with Halo Top, and that's a good choice. But if you don't have that, what you could also do is make one of my Ninja Creamy recipes and then top the cookie skillet with that. That's like Fit Food AE recipe inception. So now we got our birthday cake skillet cookie. This one is the lowest calorie cookie out of all of them, I think, because like the only mix in there are the sprinkles. But yeah, this one's delicious. Definitely still packs a punch. In fact, maybe you can make it on your birthday or make it on a day that's not your birthday, just so it feels like a special day. One thing I will say about these recipes, like pretty much all the recipes in this video, is you kind of have to eat it right away. If you let it sit and like save it for later, it's just not gonna taste as good. Like I'm just gonna be straight up. I made one of these for my boyfriend and then I ate half of it and he told me he was gonna eat the other half and then he didn't. And it was just like rock hard sitting there the next day. I guess in theory, you could put it in the fridge and then like air fry it after, but guys, you're gonna wanna eat it all in one sitting. Let's be serious. Look at how gooey that is, especially with ice cream. So good. Oh my God, guys, is it finally time for our last recipe? This one is a chocolate Biscoff skillet cookie. And this is just reminding me that I feel like I should make more chocolate skillet cookies because they don't get enough love. But yeah, a couple different ingredients in this one, like chocolate protein powder, unsweetened cocoa powder. This particular skillet cookie recipe brings back a lot of memories for me. For some reason, I think I made it, I first made it in like this very weird time in my life, back in like September or maybe August 2022. Let's not think about that time. But yeah, anyway, this skillet cookie, what makes it unique is that in the middle we got Biscoff. And you guys know how much I love Biscoff. And I feel like it doesn't get as much love as it should. So what I like to do is put half the batter and then put the Biscoff in the middle and then top it with the other half of the batter. Again, it's gonna make it a lot easier if you wet the back of your spoon so the dough just like spreads out better. If you over bake this, then you're not gonna get that like gooey Biscoff center. So make sure to just put it in for less time you need. So good. Honestly, this recipe would taste really good with like a sprinkle of sea salt. Any of these recipes would. And I feel like I'm mad at myself for not remembering that. Look at how gooey that is, and we got that Biscoff center. So good. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, as it really helps the channel, and I post new videos every week. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.